Kick is up, it's on its way, and it is good! And the Buffs win it, Diego Gonzalez.
They go to Gabby. She's got it! As the Buffs have upset 6th-ranked Stanford.
Beautiful touch, and the Buffs have the equalizer.
The time expires, and the Buffs knock off number 9, Arizona. Looking left the whole way, he'll throw this one back toward the end zone, running to the corner, over the shoulder, right-handed grab is made, Devin Ross, touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! Welcome into the Buffalo Stampede, week number 2 of the season, and Colorado was impressive once again. Buffs are 2-0 for the first time since 2013 as they dominate the Bengals of Idaho State. 56-7 here on a great day at Folsom Field. Gary Barnett, Mark Johnson. Coach, I think we were talking in the pregame on the radio about taking care of business, and boy, but did Mike McIntyre's team do that.
They really did, and it's after a game like they played against Colorado State, it would be easy for this team to think they had arrived and to think that all they had to do was throw their uniforms out on the field and they'd win this game. And those of us who've been around this game long enough to know that just doesn't happen, and that's when you make big mistakes. And so between the seniors and the leadership on this football team and the coaching staff, they would not let that happen. And when you got everybody working together in that direction, and everybody understanding what it takes, the kind of effort and the kind of respect you have to give your opponent, and therefore prepare for them that way. When that's happening for you, then you got a chance to be good.
And that says something about kind of the maturity of a team, doesn't it? When they just go out and do exactly what you've got their attention, I guess, as a head coach, wouldn't you?
They're listening to you when that happens, and so many teams. Only so many guys are willing to listen. So many guys are really willing to pay the price. It's always that way. That's why you always have, 100 teams that play every weekend, and half of them lose because, some of them are listening, some of them aren't. And it's got to be the right culture. It's got to be the right personalities, the right leadership. It's got to be in the right place. I always call it a 90-10. If your team, 90% of your team is chasing their goals and their dreams, and they're only spending 10% of their time on internal issues, then you got a chance to be a really good football team. This team, after 2 games, appears to be at least heading in that direction.
Well, it was a complete game once again. The Buffaloes on offense, and again, Seth Olu found many of the starters didn't even make halftime. Okay, it was 49-0 at the half. They had almost 600 yards of offense, probably could have had 800, and the defense doesn't surrender 100 yards. Are you more impressed with what you've seen offensively or defensively from the Buffaloes at this point?
Well, I've got to say every aspect of these 2 games, all 3 areas, special teams, offense, and defense, have been impressive to me. I know we have to take in consideration who they're playing, but it's still hard to do that. It's hard to play at a high level in 2 complete games the way they have here, and you've got to give credit where credit's due, and it's a combination of the coaches and the seniors. So complete games. I've been impressed with both sides. Today, the offense was just on fire. Defensively, they continued to do what they were doing the week before. So everybody's hitting right now on all the cylinders.
A lot of guys got to play in this. We saw 3 quarterbacks. Steven Montez played a good chunk. Jordan Gerke came in. You saw down to the 4-string running back, backup linebackers. When you get a lot of guys playing like that in a game like this, they probably got a pep in their step this upcoming week. There's great value in that from a coaching standpoint, is there not?
Well, there's no question. Everybody thinks they're going to play the next time. They all practice harder on Monday, but Mark, this is what the really good teams have happened to them. Michigan, for example. Michigan has played their second and third teams for the last 2 games. That's what your better teams get the advantage of being able to do. They keep their guys healthy. They bring along the younger kids, so they got depth. And Colorado has taken 2 steps in that direction.
You said something late in the play-by-play portion of our radio broadcast. You said, okay, 2 games in the books. We've seen dominating, top-to-bottom performances. At this point, you got to say Colorado's a good football team, right?
Well, you got to say they got a chance to be a good football team, I think. And you've got to at least – I can't emphasize enough how hard it is to do 2 games in a row, to have that kind of focus, total domination in 2 football games. That doesn't happen to a lot of teams. It's happened to this team. So you got to put them in the upper echelon anyway, the upper half of teams of teams that are good or may have a chance to be pretty good.
So next week the Buffaloes go to the Big House, Ann Arbor, Michigan, a top 5 team against the Michigan Wolverines. We know if you're a Colorado fan, you're watching this, you know what the history is there with the Miracle of Michigan. This is a different deal now. And out here in the real world, the hype is going to be off the charts. If you're Mike McIntyre, then how do you handle that internally at the Champion Center?
Well, I think you go back and you take care of Colorado. Colorado takes care of Colorado. This team they're going to play, Mark, and we're going to talk about it, I know, this week a lot. This is a better team than what Colorado beat in 1994, I'm telling you. So, I've won a couple games in there, and this team's probably better than those teams. I mean,
they're loaded.
They're loaded. And, Brian Greasy shook off a sack through a touchdown pass the year they went to the national championship. So this is a really good football team. They're well coached. They got the hype going for them. So Colorado at this point has got to take care of Colorado. They're on a business trip. It's just going to be them, small group that sits in a corner, and it's got to be their internal strength and their energy to prepare, and I mean totally prepare, because you want to go in there and give it every shot that you have. So the energy to prepare, the relentless spirit that you have to prepare this week becomes really important.
After 2 weeks, the Buffaloes are 2-0, 56-7 win over Idaho State. That game at the Big House next week, that's a 1:30 Mountain Time game. We'll hit the air, Gary and I. Cordell Stewart's going to join us for that broadcast across the state of Colorado on the Colorado Football Network at 11:30 with the Buffalo Stampede. Stay with us here on the television show. We're going to come back to the other side. And one of those guys up front that's been doing a great job, left tackle Jeromy Irwin, is going to join us as we continue.
Hi, this is BG Brooks from CUBuffs.com. The Buffs go to Michigan this week, and it's hard to make a trip into the Big House without recalling the '94 game, the Miracle at Michigan, and what happened in that ball game. It's as quiet a stadium at the end of the game as I've ever heard. It was the stadium turned into a graveyard. It was that quiet. This CU team is different. This team is focused. Not that those others weren't that were going into the Big House, but this team has shown some things over the first 2 games of this season that a lot of fans might have expected, but the guys inside the locker room really expected. This team is going to Ann Arbor to shock the world.
Under center, 3rd down and goal to go from inside the 2. Handoff, Evans. This time, he just walks in like a Sunday afternoon. And once again, we're back at the Stampede. We come to you from Franklin Field. Great view here on the east side of the stadium, kind of looking back towards the indoor practice facility. I'm Mark Johnson, joined by left tackle Jeromy Irwin. Buffalo's off to a 2-0 start, lopsided victories. First time you're 2-0 since 2013. Yeah. You got to be feeling good right now, huh?
Well, we feel great. It's nice to come out after the second half and have fresh legs going into the week. I must say I haven't done that my whole college career.
I was thinking, did you play any snaps in the second half at all?
No. Okay. We let the young guys get in so they could get some experience.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
This offense, though, you've racked up almost 600 yards of offense, 2 games in a row. And the big fellas are a big part of that. That line's playing well.
Yeah, we're playing good. Obviously we have a lot more we can do and we can improve on, but as of right now, we're playing solid as a unit, I would say.
Let's talk about you. Last year, of course, it was the second game of the season, the UMass game. You had that knee injury. We didn't see you the rest of the year. Talk a little bit about coming back and how tough it was to sit out virtually an entire season.
Oh, it's always hard to sit and watch, especially when you know that you're needed. It was just grueling, but I think it helped give me something to work forward to. It gave me something to drive for, and everybody knows how knees are. They're a lot of work, a lot of pain, so that's really how it was.
I'm always interested to hear what guys learned while they're sitting and watching. Did you learn anything? Other than you really like playing football and would like to be out there?
Yeah. The one thing was how much I really like playing football. That's it. I really missed it. It's hard to watch your team, especially when they're struggling and you know you can help.
Who did you lean on during that time? Your brother, maybe?
Yeah, my mom and my brothers and my roommates. Okay. They were awesome. They helped me a lot. Same for my training staff and my coaches. Everybody was there for me. It was a team effort.
When did you feel as though that knee was 100%? You were ready to come back?
After camp. Really? Yeah, camp put it through the test because we're doing double days. I'm taking all these reps. It's a lot, especially kind of come off ACL meniscus. It's just a lot of reps that your knee is not used to. And, it swells up, and you have to do a lot of soft tissue and rehab. So I would say after camp is when I felt about 100.
A lot of time in the weight room, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You feel stronger this year?
Yeah, I feel stronger. Unfortunately, I didn't get to my lower body as strong as I wanted to, but we're just going to move forward.
This offensive line I mentioned has been playing very well. 600 yards or thereabouts each of the first 2 ball games. You've run the ball for well over 200 yards each of the 2 ball games. What's better about this offensive line? Why is it performing better?
We're more mature.
Yeah.
We're more mature. We have guys that had to step in last year and take reps that probably didn't think they would have to, and that makes you mature a lot faster than you want to. And so having those guys back this year has really been a help.
There was a change during the offseason with the coaching in terms of who you were dealing with, and Klayton Adams is the guy that's coaching the offensive line right now. Be careful, he's standing just off camera right now. How's that been?
It's been awesome. I love him. I love Bernardi. I love all these coaches. I mean, the thing about coaching is we've got one of the best coaching staffs in America. And so I think you could plug in multiple people in multiple positions and we would thrive.
Yeah. Is it sometimes beneficial to hear maybe a similar message with a different voice?
Yeah, definitely. And with each coach, I've learned that they all coach similar, but there's just different tweaks different terminology that they have. Like Adams, he's brought different stuff to the table that I didn't know with Bernardi, and Bernardi had different stuff. But all those coaches, they help us in each and every way. So I'm overall impressed with how they've handled everything.
I think it was after that first game, the victory over Colorado State in the Rocky Mountain Showdown. I think the rumor was Cepha was supposed to take you guys out to dinner. Has that happened yet or not?
Yeah, he did. He took us to Payway last Thursday. Yeah, let me get 2 dinners, and I ate all of it.
As the left tackle now with a right-handed quarterback, there's a lot of extra responsibility goes with that, isn't there?
Yeah, I guess you could say so. I mean, when you're looking at it in the grand scheme of college football, there's really not.
Right.
I mean, if one of the tackles gets beat, he's running for his life.
There's a pretty good little string of great left tackles coming out of this program. You think about Nate Solder, David Bakhtiari, of course, with the Green Bay Packers now. How you feeling that role? You ever talk with those guys?
Yeah, I talk to David all the time. I actually talked to Jack Harris too. He played here.
That's right.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago. He could have gone into the NFL, but he had some medical issues he didn't take care of. But yeah, I haven't talked to David in a while, but I don't know Nate Solder. I never really personally got to meet him. But yeah,
right.
I'm aware of all the good left tackles that have been here.
How about this game now this weekend? The Buffalo's on the road against Michigan, against a top 5 team. Big challenge for the Buffs.
Oh, we're ready.
Yeah.
Every week's a challenge. We're worried about us though. That's what we've been working on.
Colorado's the most important team on the schedule.
Team.
Hey, keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's left tackle Jeromy Irwin. He and the Buffs at number 4 Michigan on Saturday in the Big House. We're going to talk to his coach, Klayton Adams, as we continue after a break here on the Stampede. 4th down and a short one from the 4-yard line. Play action boot, throw at the end zone, wide open. Touchdown, Colorado. Nice play by the Buffaloes. We continue in the Stampede. We go from the left tackle to the guy that coaches the left tackle, Klayton Adams, the offensive line coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. Boy, congratulations on a great start so far this season. Your guys have been playing very well, haven't they?
Thanks. You know what? I think we've been doing some good things. I think there obviously is a ton of things every week that we're looking to improve on, but I think generally speaking, in terms of trying to play really hard and play physical, I think we're headed that direction. We're nowhere near where we want to be. I think that the season is kind of a living, breathing thing, and it evolves as you go, and you have to evolve with it. And so that's our goal, is to keep getting better fundamentally, keep getting better, finishing.
And I understand that coach is never happy. You always find flaws and things you can work on and fix. Where is this offensive line, do you think, improved the most? Is it a stronger offensive line? Is it what's going on between the ears? Technique? Where's it been?
Number one, I think that they're all a year older, and a lot of those guys have played in games and they feel a little bit more confident about what they've done in games. And I think that Coach Wilson's done a really great job with them in the weight room, and they're all stronger. But the number one most important thing, I think, that you go back to April when we started to where we're at now is chemistry is so important with the offensive line, and those guys understanding how to play together, understanding how to communicate, sometimes understanding a look and not having to communicate it verbally, just being able to do it. And so they've really come a long way in that area. Are we where we want to be? No, but they've gotten a lot better.
Through 2 games, Buffalo's, by the way, averaging almost 600 yards of offense a game, over 200 yards rushing. That's always a point of pride for an offensive line when you run the football effectively, isn't it?
I think wanting to run the ball effectively and wanting to come out of a game and say that we ran the ball well is definitely a goal. The statistic part of it, I don't think those guys look at it, and I certainly try not to. So.
How's the transition been? I mean, there was a shakeup and kind of just some movement of coaching duties for you guys. You move on over to the offensive line. How's that transition been?
It's actually been really good. It's the position that I played. It's a position that I've probably coached more years than anything else, and the relationship that Coach Bernardi and I have, and the respect that I have for him, I think, and the maturity that he has as a coach, and the kind of person that he has really made it easy for me, just because, he's helped me every step of the way, and he's a guy that I can always go to and say, hey, give me your thoughts on this, and he wants me to ask him those type of questions, and it's not, it's been very smooth because of the type of person he is.
So a great 2-0 start for the Buffaloes right now, getting a couple of votes in each of the coaches poll and the media AP poll. Now you really kind of dive into the deep end of the pool this week. You go on the road against a top 5 team in the Michigan Wolverines at the Big House. What kind of challenge up front does Michigan pose?
They have a good football team, and they're a physical football team, and you can tell that, the way that they play in games is the way it is on both sides of the ball because they beat each other up at practice and they play physical. We just got to worry about ourselves, and we have to have an idea what looks we're going to see. We have to have an idea what type of pass rush moves we're going to see. But at the end of the day, we got to be the best version of ourselves, and if we do that, then they'll count up all the beans at the end of the game. We'll see who's got the most.
I like that. Count up all the beans. We're going to use that in the broadcast this week. I like that. Hey, when it comes to stepping up in competition, though, how much is confidence and a belief in what you can do and the success you've had, how much does that play into a game and the way of this team moving forward?
I think confidence is important for sure, especially when you're dealing with 18, 19, or 20-year-old guys. But I do think that, them understanding that each week you're absolutely wiping the slate clean and nothing that you did last week is going to affect this game. What's going to affect this game is the work that you put in the offseason and how you prepare yourself, mind and body during the week. And so I think that getting those guys to buy into that and understand that, they're going to be excited to play football because they should be excited to play football. They know who we're playing, but getting them to understand that the logo on our helmet, that's the one that's important, and trying to be the best version of us.
Well, it's been an exciting start to the 2016 season for the Buffaloes. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Buffs on the road against number 4 Michigan this week. It's also been a great start to the soccer season for the University of Colorado. We're going to talk with one of the CU soccer players, Kahlia Hogg, as we continue on the Stampede. Busy weekend for the Buffs, and you can follow all of it by checking out the media schedule at cubuffs.com. Volleyball kicks off the weekend at home versus Chicago State on Friday at 7 p.m., and that broadcast is being streamed live through cubuffs.com. Their match on Saturday at 11 a.m. is also being streamed. Soccer plays its last match of the Colorado Cup on Saturday at noon. Catch that stream as well. Football is on the road at number 4 Michigan. That 1:30 kickoff is on television on the Big Ten Network and, of course, on radio on the Colorado Football Network. And finally, volleyball is once again being live streamed for their big in-state rivalry match against CSU. First serve is at 7:30. As always, you can check out cubuffs.com for all upcoming games and where you can watch them.
And she has a flip throw, so this is another opportunity, almost like a free kick for CU to get something on the end of it right here with Klayton.
And a chance and a goal! On cue, Jordan. As you mentioned, she launched that thing into the box.
She launched it, and we mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast here. The wind is blowing, and it's blowing in the direction of Danica Evans throwing right there. So not only does she get a lot on her flip throws, but she got a little help from the wind.
Beautiful day here in Boulder, sitting just outside of the Champions Center. And what a highlight that was. In fact, it was number 2 in the top 10 on ESPN. We're joined by Kahlia Hogg. How about that play?
Yeah.
You designed that, or how'd that come about?
I would like to say I designed that. No, that was all Danica. She's got the athleticism to be able to put that throw in, and Taylor, using her height advantage to be able to put that header in the back of the net.
Okay, now, I've got to ask you about the flip. Is that by design? Can you do that? Can anybody do that, or is she uniquely qualified?
I cannot do that. There are very few people that can do it, and very few people that can do it over the distance that Danica can. So it's a phenomenal weapon for us to be able to use when we get in those positions.
There's got to be some deception involved in something like that when she starts flipping around.
Oh, yeah. Totally. You never know where the ball's going to go, but you know it's going to go far.
You are a transfer from Florida State.
Yes.
Obviously, by the way, with the accent, you can tell she's not from Brooklyn. That's an Australian accent. How did you get here to the States to play soccer to begin with?
I got recruited out here. I was at FSU, and then I transferred. Danny was recruiting me out to Wyoming, and then he moved here, obviously, and I moved here in my sophomore year. So, yeah, basically just to come and play soccer.
Well, besides that, the weather here in Boulder is much nicer than Tallahassee. Very hot and humid down there, so you've got to prefer this.
Oh, yeah, Boulder's fantastic, and the athletics and the academics, it was an easy decision to come out here.
Yeah, I understand you're a mechanical engineering student.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, what are you going to do with that?
I'd love to combine engineering and sports, so that's my future goal with that.
Talk about the start to this season. The Buffs have played pretty well here early on.
Yeah, we had a little spell in the middle where we weren't getting the results, but they were close games and we were out shooting opponents. But last couple of games we've really found the back of the net. That's just been fantastic for us and a real confidence boost for the strikers.
Coach Danny Sanchez, love the guy. What's he like to play for?
I love playing under Danny and Jason. They're phenomenal coaches and the whole reason why I transferred to Boulder.
The Buff soccer team's got a little international flair, not only from Australia, but also from Canada. And right now we got a great package on Sarah Kinsner.
Dribbling in towards the center, left foot shot off the post. It's hanging on the line. Goal for the Buffaloes.
Coming from Canada to America, it's a big change, and like being away from like my family and home and everything. But the team's very welcoming, and it was a pretty easy transition in that sense. But I learned a lot since I've been here my freshman year and moving into my sophomore year now, just continuing to develop as a player. Colorado's a beautiful place. The coaching staff like Danny, Jason, Dave, Bruner, all of them, like just such a great staff to have, and they support you through everything, which is really nice. And yeah, Pac-12 is definitely one of the tougher conferences, I'd say. You learn a lot. Definitely was a big shock last year with my first game, but just trying to like adjust and like keep getting better.
That's right.
Kinsner
That's a great
straight
shot.
away. What a shot, and we're tied.
Superb shot.
Well, being from Canada, I'm a big hockey fan, but I have to say that my favorite sports team is probably the Chicago Blackhawks. Love Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, and all those guys. I'd say probably like my idol growing up was always Marta on the Brazil national team. She's just so fun to watch and just brings such a life to the game. So with the Canadian U20 team, I recently was just in Honduras for the CONCACAF, and we ended up qualifying for the World Cup. So that was really exciting, and it was a great experience and opportunity, and I learned so much from it. And it's just such an honor to always have the opportunity to represent your country.
That's a great piece here on Sarah Kinsner. What's she like as a teammate?
Sarah's fantastic. Sarah brings a lot of energy to every training session, and she's just such a hard worker and a really great person to play with and just be around all the time.
It was really a great weekend for the Buffaloes to get nice wins over Hawaii and Iowa, playing pretty good soccer over the weekend.
Yeah, no, we're really starting to connect and combine as a team, and I really hope that we just use that momentum going into DU this weekend and onto Pac-12 as we progress through the season.
Now the Colorado Cup, they've got the DU Pioneers this weekend, and the Buffs have won that cup a number of years in a row, so big opportunity this weekend again.
Yeah, I think if we clinch the win, then we seal the cup, and DU is always a great opponent for us. It's a really competitive rivalry, and they're playing super well, so it'll be a great game.
Is this a close-knit soccer team that you play on?
Yes, I think this season we've really come together. You know, we added about 10 new players, but they've come into the team really nicely, and I think everyone's just gelling, and it's just fantastic.
I like it. We'll keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Good luck against the DU Pioneers. The CU football team, of course, has that big game back at the Big House as they take on the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday. That's a 1:30 Mountain Time game. We're going to hit the air at 11:30 with the Buffalo Stampede on our Denver stations, KOA News Radio and Denver Sports 760. For Kahlia, I'm Mark. We'll talk to you next time on the Stampede.